In the 60s, you worked with the Richardsons. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, in the 1960s, I was with Charlie and Eddie Richardson, and it was great times. They were two smashing fellas, and I have no regrets whatsoever. They were terrific guys.
In the 60s, when you were with Richardsons, you ran a company called Atlantic Machines. How did you put the people off who wanted to interfere with those machines in the clubs?
Yes, we had untold machines in most of the clubs in London, all over the country. And we had no difficulty in anyone else trying to rip our machines open or anything like that. No trouble whatsoever.
I believe in one of your books you said that you used a flamethrower. Is that right?
That was on a little gang up in Liverpool. It was really good. General Montgomery would have been proud of me with that one.
Tell us about the events with Eric Mason that led up to the torture trial.
Well, I'd been down the Astor Club, and a fight occurred between two ordinary people, nothing to do with me in any way whatsoever. The police were called and quietly paid the bill, and I left. And when I was outside in Berkeley Square, waiting for my car to arrive, Eric Mason come up and said, "Wait till I tell Ronnie and Reggie you started that fight." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he carried on in this vein. In the world I was in, that was a very serious thing to say, especially when it was nothing to do with me in any way at all. So when our car arrived, I just kidnapped him, slung him in, and took him to Atlantic Machines and set about him with an axe and dumped him outside a London hospital with his fingers on his head like that, and the axe right the way through, stuck into his head. And I've sued the police and the hospital authorities ever since to get me axe back. If I bought in Walworth, I wouldn't have minded, but it was a cracker I bought in Harrods. He said he wrote a book, he said he had 380 stitches. Not true, he had over 800. He went to see Reggie and Ronnie when he come out of the hospital after 4 months, complaining. They gave him £10 each and slung him out.
The evidence said that you removed his teeth with pliers. Is that true?
Yes, there goes around a story, well, it come out of the so-called trial, that I allegedly pulled a guy's teeth out with pliers. I only wished it had been true, because at least when I was doing my 20 years, wouldn't it have been lovely lying in my cell and going, "Oh, what a good job I made of that back molar," but it wasn't true. My poor sister Eva, the guy who said I pulled his teeth out, Benny Causden, he approached Eva and said to her, "Look, if you give me a certain amount of money, I'll come with you to a solicitor's and I'll tell the truth that it didn't happen." Eva said, "Yes, certainly." Took him to a solicitor's and he made a statement saying it wasn't true about the teeth. L.B. Woods, who was with George Cornell when he got shot by Ronnie Craig, was Eva's chauffeur. And that was it. Eva got a statement off him at the solicitors and everything, but as soon as he left the solicitors and Eva had dropped him home, he went straight to the police and said they'd threatened him. And that's why he done it. My poor sister Eva and L.B. were arrested for perverting the course of justice, and they both got 3 years.
Just a couple more questions. You were shot in Mr. Smith's club in Catford in 1965. Tell us about that.
Well, a row developed in Mr. Smith's club, and Eddie Richardson went on the dance floor and had a fair fight with Peter Hennessy. Eddie knocked him down, said, "You had enough, Peter?" He said, "No." Let him up, carried on. Unbeknown to us, Peter Ennis's friends had sent out for 2 guns to be smuggled in, and Dickie Hart pulled out a 45 and shot 2 friends of ours who were there with us. I managed to get near him and slung a terrific right-hander at him, and then with the other hand went for the gun, pulled it down, but he managed to shoot me in the thigh and my left leg, smashed the thigh bone. The police alleged I got the gun off him and blew his head off with it. Well, naturally I did. I ain't going to shake his hand, am I? And I'm nicked for murder, but fortunately was found not guilty. It was wonderful. Lovely fight though. John Wayne would have been proud of it. Guns, knives, bottles.
You were involved in another shooting outside the terminals by a Clark robbery in 91. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's true. I'd been out for a drink at 8 o'clock in the evening with Marilyn Wisby, Tommy Wisby's daughter, and we'd come out of the club about 4 in the morning. We hadn't been there all night, we'd been in other places, to get a cab. And out the blue, this undercover cop come, boom, and shot me here. Marilyn saved me life. I suppose if I'd have been sober, I'd have been dead, because I'd have really felt it. But having had 8 hours of good drink, I went for where the flash come from, and she pulled her arm round my neck and pulled my head back and shouted out, "You bastard!" And the next 2 shots missed. And he got in the car that was there and got away. The next day, in the hospital, there were all armed police round my bed. I said, "Look, you've already shot me once. Well, you're going to shoot me here?" They disappeared. They never asked me who done it. They never took a statement of me, or of Marilyn either, or anything. And if anyone goes in hospital like that, the police are duty-bound to take a statement of them. And if they refuse, they'd call a doctor and a nurse to confirm it. I said it in a book, Mad Frank, Memoirs of His Life of Crime. I put it all in there. I've said it on radio, television, newspaper, magazines. They've never denied it. They've never admitted it either, but they never denied it. It was a great night out, though, I must admit.
And final question, I read a newspaper report said that you killed 41 people. Presumably that was incorrect.
Well, the police say I've killed 40 people, not 41. If they'd have said 41, I'd have really been upset. I hate odd numbers. But they say 40, and they want to say that, it's a free country, I won't argue.
That's what I said.
Yeah, because this is Southwark Street, yeah.
That's right. You did a robbery here, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think.
Thank God for that.
Do you ever have any regrets at all, Frank?
Yes, I do. 3 regrets. 1, I wished I hadn't have been caught. 2, I wished I'd have been on a bigger bank robbery. And 3, I wished I'd have been in a Great Train Robbery. But all good fun. At least I did rob the banks, but I wished I'd have robbed the bigger bank.
Tell us about the train robbery.
Well, the train robbery, quite rightly, has been described as the crime of the last century, and it was. Brilliant. I should have been in it. But as I was already on the run, the police were vigorously looking for me, and I knew that if I'd have gone on the robbery when I was asked to, I could have been an embarrassment to them. In all the work that was being done in setting it up, I could have been recognised and chased by the police and could have caused a lot of embarrassment. And I had to tell them, Tommy Wisby, who'd asked me, I'm sorry I couldn't be in it. One of the biggest regrets of my life.
Tell us about some of the characters that were involved in the Great Train Robbery, like Ronnie Biggs.
Well, Ronnie Biggs was incredibly lucky in a way. He was only on the Great Train Robbery because Bruce Reynolds, who knew Ron, the majority of us didn't. I did because I'd been in prison with him. But he remembers Ron telling him that he had an old pal who was used to be a train driver on British Rail and now retired. And he hunted down Ronnie, who was working hard at the time, found him. They found the train driver, the retired train driver, and they took him eventually to where the train, the mail van train that had all the money in, would be shunted into the railway sidings. That couldn't happen now, the sheer security of the things. And they climbed over there, and the train driver got in it. He said, yes, I can drive it. All the instruments and that, they started it up. Late at night, all dark, about 12 at night, 11 at night, no one about at all. But on the day of the robbery, he couldn't start it. And of course, that's when they had to get Jack Mills back in, the train driver. And Ronnie and the retired train driver just sat in a Land Rover and took no more part in the robbery whatsoever. But Ronnie couldn't grumble, he got his full whack, same as everyone else.
Would you like to pull off one last big job for yourself?
If it was another Great Train Robbery, yes, definitely. I'd come out of retirement a bit quick. Happily.
Do you still get offers of work?
Yes, I do. Yes, you'll always get that. But I turn them all down. There's been none that I could see any real appeal to me anyway.
How do you fill your time now?
Well, I do my gangland tours, which are quite frequent. I have to go all over the country at times to talk about my life. And it's great. You know, it gives me an honest living. A lot of people go off about it. Newspapers, one thing or another. That I'm earning money out of crime, and I just honestly reply, well, I've done 42 years in prison, I've paid my debt back to society, and now I'm getting an honest living. Who can grumble about that? And really, that buttons them up, I'm happy to say.
What do you think of modern day sort of hard men in comparison to your era?
There's no race, really. In that sense of the word. Most of them, they get pretty high on drugs and they get carried away. On the other hand, though, they got wonderful gymnasiums now where people can keep very, very fit and sensibly fit and all, because they can have the proper diet to go with it and all the rest of it. But nevertheless, they're nowhere near as hard as the guys that they used to be. No, definitely not. No race.
Who do you think was the hardest man that you were either in prison with or met?
Well, there's been so many, really. It wouldn't be fair, I suppose, to dig anyone out. There's been so many. And it's very hard for me to say which one would be absolutely outstanding, as there have been so many, really.
What about people like Pretty Boy Shaw?
Yes, Roy was very good, Roy Shaw. He was very good. But there are many more similar to him and all, say, yeah. In my time, yeah. Though Roy was good.
What did you think about Freddie Foreman's recent TV programme when he admitted disposing of bodies for the craze and stuff?
Well, if Fred wanted to admit how many bodies he got rid of, good luck to him, that's his business. But when he said he killed them people and got rid of the bodies on the craze orders, he shouldn't have said that. Because at that stage, Reggie was still alive, and no one knew he was going to die then. And the authorities were looking for any excuse to keep Reggie in longer, as a lot of very, very good people were fighting on Reggie's behalf to get him free. And that's all the authorities needed for someone like Fred to say it was on their orders, when they had been found not guilty of them crimes. So therefore they was completely free of them. But that really was very foolish of Fred. Very foolish. He shouldn't have said it.
What do you think about grasses?
Well, What do I think about grasses? I would eliminate all of them if I could. In the world I grew up in, I've been with all my life, they are the worst people of all time. For the simple reason, the majority of them are people who's been in prison themselves. So they know what it's all about, and they know the rules, that they mustn't ever help the police or the authorities in any way at all. So therefore, they are taboo. Hate them.
You've
I'd kill 'em.
You've attacked grasses before, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah. Willingly, happily.
You said that in something I read that Patsy Kensit's father was a grass. Was that correct?
Well, Patsy Kensit's father was nicked with all of us, Jimmy Kensit, and he made a statement against all of us, and the police, after a little while in custody, they let him go completely. Free. That's fact. So, whereas when I did know him, and before I knew he was one, found him a pleasant guy. But once that come about, that was the end of him.
Have you ever thought in your life sort of changing to do a normal type of job?
I am asked in the course of my life, would I like to have changed and got a decent job and been an ordinary decent man? I doubt it. Because who knows, I might have grown up to be this sort of man, where there's a very elderly lady on a road at a request bus stop when the weather is absolutely very, very bad. Raining really heavily, cold, at 7 o'clock in the evening, 7:30, dark. Bus comes along, she puts her arm out, he sees her and just drives straight by and splashes her with all the puddles in the roadway. I wouldn't want it to grown up and been someone like that. I'm glad I grew up to be the guy I am, because there's no way I could do anything like that.
Last question here. What are you going to say when you meet your maker?
Oh, I've got no worries there. A lot of people ask me, what are you going to say, Frank, when you meet your maker? I have to be honest and say there's no danger of that happening. I've already been booked up. I've got the Chief Stoker's job down below.
That's great. You attacked Albert Pierrepoint, the hangman, when he was going to hang Derek Bentley. That was right.
Yes, that's true. January the 28th, 1953. I was on Brentwater on a punishment landing at Wandsworth, E1. It's the punishment landing now as well as then. On E2 is where the condemned cells are and the execution cell. And I used to go sick every morning. And if you went sick then, the custom was that your bed was allowed in your cell, in the punishment cells and all, till the doctor come round. And he normally wouldn't come round the punishment cells till about 9 at the earliest in the morning, but most probably 10 or after. So when they come in with me lump of bread and water, I'd be in bed. Fraser, get up. He'd say, no, I'm sick. And they'd have to wait on me and give it to me. Curse, you could hear them cursing. I really enjoyed it. But what I forgot, on the morning of an execution, you go to the hospital to see the doctor. And about 8 o'clock in the morning that very day, January 28th, my door opened. I'm in the strong cell on E1. The punishment cells at Wandsworth for E1, then and now. Door open, there's one prison officer. When you're in the strong cells, there should be at least 2 or 3. But because of the execution, the prison, it's a famous one, there's already crowds outside demonstrating against it. Fraser? I said, yes. He said, you reported sick? I said, yes. He said, well, the doctor will see you over the hospital. Wait at the end of E2 landing. I said, what end? The hospital end or the centre end? If he'd have said the hospital end, you wouldn't hear the rest of this. He said, no, the centre end. and the centre end meant the hub of the prison, where all the wings jut out from the centre. A-wing, B-wing, C-wing, D-wing, E-wing, F-wing. Up I went, and 2 other prisoners joined me, one called Patsy Lyons, doing 4 years for GBH, and another one called Spiro, doing 3 years, I don't know what for. I knew them both well. We were the only 3 prisoners to report sick, as they done their best to discourage anyone from going sick on the morning of an execution. We were waiting there to be taken over to the hospital when out of F-wing, where all the offices were, F2, not now, it's the visiting area now, but then there was all offices there, come Pierrepoint with 2 burly prison officers. One called Jack Manning, big man, about 6'2". I didn't know the name of the other one. I was only doing 3 years. I already lost about 9 or 10 months of my remission. Only got a couple of months to lose. I went straight at him and slung punches, everything. They jumped on me, the prison officers. Other prison officers arrived. The 2 prisoners who were with me didn't join in with me, but shouting out plenty of words of encouragement. Go on, Frank, go on. And I kicked the door of the condemned cell. I'll never forget it. I said, God bless you, son, God bless you. Know you're innocent, know you're innocent. The next day, I was on report for assaulting a servant of the prison. As he wasn't a prison officer, he'd be called a servant of the prison. Pierrepoint, and got more bread and water. Many, many years later, I was on a TV programme, a sort of like a Kilroy one, and Crystal Rose, she was the presenter, a girl, very nice girl. So Teddy Taylor was on it with me, who's an MP for a constituency in Southend, the chairman of the Young Conservatives, people like that. And what I've just said, I said in detail on the show, a bit more. Afterwards, I was invited up into the green room, where you could have a glass of wine. And then I knew that Derek Bentley's sister Iris was on the show with me, and the daughter of the last woman to be hung, Ruth Ellis's daughter. I went up to Iris and said, please forgive me, Iris. I didn't know you was in the audience there, or you was on the stage. I most probably may have upset you, speaking about your brother, the memory of him and that, you've been fighting for him. Said, oh no, Frank, you've made my day. To know my brother knew he had a friend right at the end, slung her arms round me and kissed me. It's one of the happiest moments of my life in that sense. So in your own little way, sometimes you do a bit of good.